Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Rob Baer, and joining me once again on my partisan crime, Kenny Boucher, Mike Haspil, and Wyatt Turk. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Shout out to my boys Throatzilla, XVLB, and my boy Duct Tape.
I'm here too, guys. What's up?
Bringing up the rear. That's not a butt joke.
It's always a butt joke. Spoiler alert.
It's true. I feel like we made some bold predictions last week.
I want to apologize to everyone from last week's Would You Rather. I went kind of hard on poop, and I have received now several DMs with poop pictures in them, and I realized that's when I had fucked up. I got a new update from David, which, Rob, you know what that's about. It's horrible.
Why would he do that?
They have a very Florida relationship.
Oh, I can't even right now. You guys don't want to get me involved in that.
No, I don't want anybody to be involved in this. This is like really weird behaviors that no human should have.
Well, if you're just coming to this podcast, we did a nice extended pregame show, tailgate party.
I think it was good.
It's good. We even had a really awesome, I'm going to sell this shit at this Haspil's Corner that we did some nice rehearsals for. It's going to be fucking amazing. You guys don't want to go anywhere for this.
Or he'll like cut it out of that and put it in here.
I feel like that's probably the best solution.
He's gonna slice and dice it.
Yikes. I feel like we covered a lot of good stuff. I don't know.
A lot is being discussed, you know, like it's, what are we like, middle of July, end of July. Fuck.
It's almost August.
Yeah.
Kids going back to school soon.
That should not be downplayed at all, that we've been in this current state and it's already more than halfway through the year. We're getting to the summer blues. School's about to come back on. You know, we haven't been able to do, like, for us, our hobby at the same level we were used to, or even just go to the hobby shop and hang out with other people the same way we used to. It's a lot, man. There's a lot to fucking consider, man. The other day,
been super hot in Colorado. Like, it almost got to like almost 85 the other day.
Wow.
I just said that to trigger Wyatt.
Nice.
That must be like really uncomfortable. That sounds like almost as uncomfortable as wearing a paper mask.
Almost.
Ooh, sick burn.
Yeah.
Sick burn. How hot is it really in Colorado right now? Because I remember it used to get kind of hot.
It got up into the 90s, and in Pueblo they saw like 100, but that's Pueblo. No one goes.
It's sundown. It's like 90 degrees right now. I think it was like over 100 at noon.
Damn.
Ugh.
Yeah, I can't remember a time when I actually knew what day it was, in what month it was.
I can promise though that when we do make the compound, the Church of Next Level Enlightenment, that we will have some baller AC units. It's gonna happen.
Nothing to see here. Just a couple of sweaties cooling down and playing with the minis. Yeah, I had a conversation with my private students the other day, just to talk about what I was talking about a second ago, is that I haven't seen him in like 3 months. He's been busy, right? All this shit. He just started, kids are always home. Then I had to, moving the in-laws back in to take care of them. Almost lost my job, but it didn't. Like, there's a lot of things he brought up. And every time he brought something, I was like, man, that's intense. That's intense. I was like, that's a lot. That's a lot of fucking things, man. That's not like, I think we're used to dealing with like one thing at a time, right? Like one kind of crisis we get to kind of go all in with our brain power on at a time, like at least like a life crisis. Like, it could be something as simple as like, no, they changed the rules for my fucking faction, whatever. It could be something as simple as that. Like, I think we're kind of used to like just putting all of our focus on like that one crisis as it comes, then figure. I feel like everyone is being simultaneously bombarded by like shitloads of things at once, and that is that's shitty.
Yeah.
I don't even know. We haven't even seen 2020's final form. I feel like
Skynet becomes self-aware on August 29th.
I'm just gonna burn.
Is that actually the date?
Like,
yeah, it is known. It is known.
I don't know. I'm kind of burned out because like this whole trend of like every year being supposedly worse than the last has literally happened since 2001. So this is like my life.
This has been your entire adult life.
Like,
you were born in 1999.
It's that bad, but it's really not that bad. Because I'm like, I mean, I'll say it now, on the 22nd of this month, 2020, soon as like the first week of 2021, there's going to be memes that was like, oh yeah, 2020 was bad. How about this? And it's like, all right, are we just going to keep doing this till like the end of time?
Yes.
Like, eventually,
because people don't know any history anymore. So they only know what happened last week, and it's always worse. So the answer is yes.
Haspil is existing in a new state right now. Like he kind of reminds me of Vegeta, Dragon Ball Z right now. Dragon Ball, like Vegeta has this line, and I think without this line, Vegeta is like a character that like I find pathetic. But this line
is his line, I am the hype?
No. It is, okay. And Haspil's exuding this line to me. He's like, how does it feel to be so weak that mere words can hurt you? Ooh. And like, that's like, I was like, okay, Vegeta, like, we're still tight. That's all right. That's what I have to
go back and find that because like, to me, the character of Vegeta canon is from the,
I know.
That's to me, that's the canon Vegeta.
I'm having to look something up here because I think what Wyatt was describing is a word called declension. And that's just like a random neuron firing. So I don't remember if that's,
you're an author. You probably know more words than me.
The industry term is languager.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that's,
I prefer wordsmith.
That might not be the right word, but that was like a random neuron firing. And the only definitions I can find are about linguistics, but I could swear that it was like every generation talks about how things get worse and worse and worse. And
I mean, all I'm saying is Shakespeare just made up a shit ton of words and everybody was like, okay, I feel like you could do the same thing. And everybody would equally be like, okay.
Okay. So I just found... it is an archaic use, a condition of decline or moral deterioration. So I wasn't wrong.
Initially coined by Shakespeare. That would be the ultimate.
Oh, that would be. I didn't check. I already closed that.
That would be the sickest shit ever.
That would be the best. Originated by Shakespeare.
Why let facts get in the way of a good story? You know what I'm saying? Quote,
yeah.
Shakespeare. The Raven Nevermore. So GT
I don't
Pack
have time to tell you. We don't have time for this shit right now.
GT Pack is dropped. We have it. Rob has it in his hot little hands. Actually, ice cold. He's of lizard DNA, so he has a heat rock he sits on. There they are.
You have to be this tall to ride this ride.
That's the size of an actual codex, and he just palms it with his long,
I can literally
freakishly large lizard hand suit.
Yeah. I mean, ugh.
Those aren't even actually his hands, guys. He's got little like arms like this tucked in the suit, and those are the robot hands, like and a black style. Like
he's got like Slenderman fingers. It's really creepy. I don't like it when he shows his hands on camera.
No, it really does break. It definitely breaks the illusion of his skin suit. It's shades. We made some predictions last week about the GT packet, which we'll go to. We have probably a tabletop marketplace to discuss.
At least two of them. Hey, there's new Titanicus next week. That's right.
Days without mentioning Titanicus back to zero or back to
reset the clock.
That's they're putting out a lot of really just good stuff. Just Wallet is just pained, man.
Wallet is pain.
So good.
Existence is pain.
Oh God, you're not wrong. So let's just start the show. Let's get our joke. What?
Would you rather meet aliens or talk to animals?
What do lizards count as? Aliens or animals or both?
I mean, depends.
This is such a simple one that I know it's fucked. Somehow. I'll wait for Haspil.
I'm gonna go with talk to animals, but that means I now become a vegan. Because I feel like if you go with aliens, that ends horribly. There's no way that ends in a good way.
I mean, what if cattle are like fascists, would you feel better about eating them?
I would totally feel better about eating them.
What
Like
if, what
that
if
would
like
be
all cattle
awesome. Like
spoke
if you
like
go,
Hitler?
"Hey cow, like what's going on?" and they were all like,
Oh, cow.
"The Sudetenland," and I was like, "Oh well, I guess
All
you're
right, well.
So I get to meet aliens, and this is a complete random faction of aliens in the universe, or is the Djinn predetermined my alien encounter?
No, it's you get to meet some aliens.
I feel like there's going to be butt stuff involved too.
And talking to animals, we're talking all animals, like,
Less butt stuff.
and can the animals understand me and everything? We can actually have a
Yeah, this is a Dr. Dolittle situation.
Dr. Dolittle scenario.
Yeah.
I'm kind of leaning with Haspil on this one, just because like butt stuff might be the least of my worries, honestly. But like personally, I mean, whatever. But other things. But I feel like if I could talk to animals, I'd have to feel it out with you, Haspil. I'd have to like feel out how fascist cows were.
it would actually be. I love this idea that like somebody becomes like Dr. Doolittle and it feels like they're going to be a vegan, but then animals are just terrible.
Yeah.
It's awful.
I mean, like,
So
think
he's just
about-
like, I have no guilt.
Just think about like the instinctual like behaviors of animals. And like, I mean, like if you talk to a dog, he'd probably be like your best buddy. But if he sees like another dog,
It might be like the most racist dog on earth.
yeah, or if he sees a cat, he's like, all cats should fucking die because like they're assholes and they're inferior to dogs, and like we should just euthanize all
Yeah, the
of them.
phonetic,
You're like, whoa, guy. Like,
inferior genetics wiped off the face of the planet. Like, whoa, dog.
yeah, dude,
like roll that back a
like,
bit.
calm down.
Like the squirrels in Rick and Morty. Yeah, like somebody said, yeah.
Yep, that's exactly it.
I'm gonna go with animals because it either is gonna reinforce my desire to eat them or help me transition off of eating them. Either way, I'll work it out, and I don't get probed.
Yeah, nature is not a theater of the moral. So I'm gonna go with animals because they're probably like terrible.
And Rob is probably gonna say something like, "Spoiler alert, I could already talk to animals because I'm a lizard person and a cats and things."
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
every lion is Scar. they're
I killed Mufasa.
Literally every lion and scar is gonna be on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
That's fucking good.
I feel like every cat talks like Al Capone, like, yeah, she. And then like every lion is like Scar.
How could you possibly know that if you couldn't already talk to cats?
Oh, just a lucky guess, probably.
Interesting. I've always wondered. There's an interesting theory that like people like we don't really understand how cats like see us as like another animal in the world, and like their behaviors could represent a number of things, like why they want to like bring you dead animals they kill or something like that. So like there's a theory that like they just see us as like other cats that are really weird and hairless, like almost like we are in fact like the baby in that scenario, and they're trying to provide for us, or they're trying to teach us how to do cat things. So it'd be interesting to see how they would actually.
Oh man, the first time a cat's addicted me and treated me like a mentally disabled cat, and we're like, "Look, asshole, what's 2 + 2, fucker?" Yeah, you can't do it, can you? That's like literally any 2-year-old could do that. So you're the idiot. Now you understand. First conversation with a cat. Too bad.
Get the truth about Carol Baskin. Oh my god.
Stupids.
Rob, what is your answer? Cats. Obviously, you're gonna talk to cats.
I already talked to cats.
So, could you butt stuff with aliens?
I don't have to answer that.
Yeah, that was implied. That wasn't. He just said.
Is that a question? Is it accusation? Like, what do we? What?
I mean, I'm not implying anything about aliens. They're
you just get to meet-
unhuman and knowable. I mean, like it could be like Vulcans, or it could be like a unknowable spider monster that harvests your dreams, and it could be anything. Like who knows what life form takes out there?
Who knows?
I'm just guessing if they reached Earth, they're either far more advanced than we are, or some kind of like almost like locusts. So it's not going to work out well. that's just my.
You're basically hoping for
pessimism.
like the refugee aliens in this scenario.
Yeah, you're basically like, well, maybe they might be District 9, although I don't think we would like the sequel to District 9. That's all I'm going to say there.
Yeah, the dude turns into. Oh, spoiler alert!
No, I'm just saying, like, the way they treated the aliens in District 9, like when their buddies get to Earth with all their high tech stuff, they're gonna be like, "Yo, what happened here?" And they're gonna be like, "These humans are dicks."
Oh, like that Dane Cook sketch where the 50-foot Native Americans like land out of the spaceships, and you're like, and we're like, "Oh, so what happened was
Roll credits."
Yep.
Good one, Wyatt. Rob, you got some news?
I got a few newses. So the big breaking stuff for the weekend is, of course, Titanic is getting a new expansion next week.
It's the most important thing that has occurred. Yes.
Let's be real. So Defense of Ryza comes out. It goes on pre-order this weekend. It comes out next weekend, $35 box.
Wait, Ryza, isn't that like the vacation world in Star Wars?
That
was for Haspil. That was a Haspil trigger.
Yeah,
I think one of
Ryza is Star Trek. That's where they all go.
That's where Rika goes.
God damn it, Mike is proving it impossible to trigger right now.
And he gets the Horgon there.
Yes.
For Jamaharon. Because I know these things.
Was that
I don't
the
know
video
enough
game
about
that,
Star Wars to know that.
That was the next generation canon, dog.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've watched Next Gen, man.
All right, sorry.
A lot of episodes.
I derailed us. I apologize.
So like, let's talk about some Titanicus for real. So new rulebook, $35. The 4-night box coming out for $65. It's the other two Cerastus Knights that we haven't seen yet. What is it? The Acheron and the Castigator. I think you can make 2 of each, which is super cool. So the Lancer is its own kit by itself for, I think, $35. So this is a $65 kit for 4. So you're technically saving money, but you have to spend $65 instead of
Spend money to make money. Math.
what? No, spend money to save money.
Sorry.
That's the GWA. Rune Lord Brass Spray Paint comes out next week. See, Haspil walked away. He's not going to know this. How's he supposed to pay his next?
Everyone just checked out just in case you're not. Like
Everybody's left. They're like,
nobody cares. You start talking about Titanic because they all left.
Wow. We lost half the podcast. They're gone. So $30 can of spray paint, Rune Lord Brass, comes out next week. So if you need that,
if it's good though, like I'm not gonna lie, a good gold spray paint is worth its weight in gold if it's if it works
done correctly.
If it lays down smoothly and like not straight glitters,
yes,
like because then it's actually pretty. Oh my god, Haspil went to get.
He's got one.
I had to leave for a while because how often does a Horgon come up in conversation?
Casual conversation.
And I have one signed by Patrick Stewart and Jonathan Frakes and Armin Shimmerman.
That's fucking amazing, dude.
So,
of course, you had one signed by. God damn it!
By people, by Riker and John.
We thought because Wyatt left and you left, and then Rob was like, "We're talking about Titanic is now." Everyone just fucking leaves. Yeah,
I honestly thought Mike was like backing me up on my bit.
No. I just was like, "Holy cow! I think that's upstairs. I don't have to run to the prop museum to get it."
Well,
so
now I know what a Horgon looks like.
Yeah,
looks like a wooden dildo with extra textures for his pleasure.
That is what it looks like.
It's really big.
I would not have gone with that description, but okay.
I would not have either.
That looks like a tiki mask or something.
Yeah, It's like a little wooden tiki thing.
You missed the $30 can of brass spray paint that's coming out.
I don't know. I heard all of that. I just don't care.
Yeah.
But
no, not you.
Well, but that's for Necrons. Yeah, that's actually cool. Unfortunately, I'm in a dilemma because most of my Necrons, Necrons, are painted as Neolac Dynasty. I don't know if I want to paint all the new guys the way they look. I mean, they look great, but then they wouldn't match my current one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a hater of good metal spray paint though. If for $30, if it works, right? Because
I was not a fan of the gold that came out.
Well,
it was hard to get.
You know who has some good metallic primers? Steino Res.
That's even like Tamayo.
You got to blow that through your airbrush.
Yeah,
you can blow anything through your airbrush.
So So better than spray cans. Got it.
No, it's like, so, I mean, but rattle cannon is a big part of batch painting and doing shit fast for sure. And if it's got good
for
stick,
all of my southern brethren who have to deal with this god awful humidity, is the way to go. Fuck rattle cans
for sure.
Yeah.
But even like, you know, I've talked about this extensively on my show recently because it's that time of year. I'm getting a lot of private students talking about like they fucked their shit up with priming. There's like a lot to rattle cannon priming that people that are like a lot of less rattle. Like, I don't know, maybe you didn't do things with rattle cans like I did when I was a kid. But there's some procedures.
On the same page.
There's some procedures to keeping your rattle cans spraying correct that I've actually recently gone over on my Twitch stream and in some private classes. Hit me up on Facebook. There's actually a right way to shake them, wrong ways to shake them. There's better ways to shake them. When you take them out into humidity, first off, don't leave your shit out there. Like I commission painted in North Carolina for 3 years. Yeah. Only like rattle cannon, my models never had a bad prime because I sprayed them I sprayed them out there and instantly brought them into my beats lab. Right? Like there's tricks.
Put them in your bathroom or turn the fan on, whatever. There's also tricks, but getting a good metallic primer though, I'm kind of holding my breath for because I would spend $30 if it is like one and done coverage and it's not like just like doesn't look like glitter, like wedding glitter is just in there. If it has like a good lacquer feeling and it's more pearlized and it sticks, I'm all in, you know. But can't tell you any of that yet because I haven't gotten my hands on the can. I probably won't get it to be honest, but probably worth a try, I suppose.
And GW hasn't been like the worst with their rattle cans.
Their sprays are usually pretty good. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that gold one they did. That's all.
Hopefully it's an update. Like hopefully they've improved on it. But
I agree.
How much is it though?
$30.
Right? I don't know.
Wait, American?
Yeah.
I was like,
what?
That was Canadian.
Yeah, it didn't register with me. I was like $30.
Right,
okay,
I'm just gonna make a hot take blanket statement. If you buy a can of rattle paint for $30, like you're kind of dumb. You deserve to get scammed.
That's a lot.
Well, moving on from GW.
Oh, one
does it have an Aquila on it?
Yes.
Oh, of course.
Oh, damn it.
One last thing.
The individual glitters are all tiny aquila.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That is shaped in Aquilas. But like that's why
3 then.
That's why it has to have a good stick. If it doesn't have a good stick, then you're wasting money. But spray paint innately is wastes paint because you don't have the accuracy you do with an airbrush. So if it doesn't have a good stick and it requires like a billion thin coats to get the coverage you want, then it is absolutely throwing money in the toilet.
I'm going to do some quick market research while he keeps talking about other news.
Don't look up Krylon or anyway.
I know I wouldn't use Krylon. I'm looking at other model companies.
Tamiya has some really good ones.
Yeah.
There's really good one that I get from Michaels. It's like 24 karat gold paint. I've used it for a ton of stuff. It's a really rich gold. They make silver also.
Yeah, they got brass and silver too.
They have brass and silver too, and they're not $30. So
not $30. Correct.
They are. I will warn you, if you use those paints, they are a little difficult to paint over because it is so smooth. It is very slick.
Yeah, they're hydrophobic. Most of them are, even the Tamiya ones. But so you need to just matte varnish it. You just basically spray it, let it dry, matte varnish it, GG.
Yep.
Like a porpoise. All right. So non-GW stuff coming out. There's a fairly successful Kickstarter up right now for Studio X, which is basically a mobile miniature package, right? That you can put all your brushes, all your miniatures, all your paints. It's crazy how much stuff it looks like you can fit in this. It's even got a wet palette. I think it's got 5 days left as of this recording. So I think Tuesday, whatever day that is.
You said it has a wet palette, like it comes with one?
Yeah, it comes with a wet palette inside of it too. Room for all your tools, models. It's kind of crazy, like how much stuff fits in there now. It's reasonably sized too. It's shockingly small for what it is, and it's just crushing it on Kickstarter right now. So check it out if you haven't pledged. I think it's $90. And they just unlocked where you get like a LED lamp that goes over it too. So it kind of unfolds like a chested or like, what's that, an armoire? And like with the sides with all the paint, and then your brushes hang down, and there's a wet palette you can pull out. and the little light is over the top on the handle. It does plug in. I don't think it's battery operated, which I've been looking for a good battery operated LED light. I'm like a hobo with the little lamp on my head now, but I don't really go anywhere. I don't think anyone
lizards, they like the failing light, the twilight light. So like, you need a little more control.
Mr. Hobby sprays are under $12.
Yikes. Those are all on Amazon?
Yeah, I'm looking at All Clad. If you want like literally the best paint to prime or stuff like that, All Clad is like the business. Yep. So let's see. These, it's a really big bottle though. So like a regular All Clad bottle of primer, $6.
This is spray?
You put it in your airbrush.
Oh, okay.
But this is like the bit, like, you know, when you're talking about like the real deal shit, like All Clad paints are what they used to paint the miniatures for like Star Wars movies back in the day. Like this is like the legit shit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that Studio X mobile miniature to go ensemble is $90 for the base pledge, and then they've got some other ones that like you get extra paint, some Monument Hobbies paints. I think they just unlocked like a free stream with Banshee Miniature Artist. There's a lot of cool stuff going on over there. I think they got 7 unlocks already. So it ends on Tuesday. Check it out. It doesn't seem too bad for the price, because when you talk about, I know what I've spent on moving all my stuff around in various bags, and it's definitely more than $90 at this point. So I think it's pretty good value. So I hope you do too. There's a link over on spikybits.com. I think we just did a post this morning on it as well. So, just Google it, Studio X, easy to find. Pop Goes the Monkey just came out with their new monkey resin. You might have seen some of it over on a nice little painting stream yesterday, I want to say.
I mean, all week, dog.
All week.
I mean, we painted the Demon Prince this month. We've been working on the fucking jet bike.
Hells yeah, brother.
So
wheels are for losers.
I do like the jet bike. What's neat about the monkey resin is it's a less expensive alternative to getting the frosted ultra clear stuff through Shapeways.
Better too. Like that resin is better for miniatures than the stuff that Shapeways has.
I feel like it is. So
no, like
I have
objectively
both.
It is.
Well, I have both, right? So like I got the jet bike because we were doing a promo, right? So like I've been working obviously with the monkey resin all month. I have all the samples. Many of the audience has gotten them, and they also are like, they're dope. So I got the jet bike. That's monkey resin, but the manufacturing wasn't making the weapons yet. So those came to me through Shapeways. So I literally have Shapeways weapons on my monkey resin bike, right? And they are essentially indistinguishable. Literally, once there's paint on them, they're both painted, you literally would never be able to figure out which was which was the, 3 more degrees of work to get them to look like this version of the other. You know what I mean?
I would say from my experience of, having a 3D printer that uses very similar resin and using Shapeways for a number of years, there are some aspects of how the Shapeways printing process works that is not as nice as the liquid resin 3D printing, where you probably noticed like a fuzziness to parts of your models in the past with Shapeways, and you do not have that with the
always crisper with the resin.
Yeah. And then the resin in general is just, it's stronger and it's more flexible before it breaks than the Shapeways resin, which is very brittle. So it's just in every way, it's better.
So, and of course it is less expensive.
Yeah.
So not everything on the
cheaper
site.
Well, like I mean, a big part of the pitch, because, Matt's a near and dear friend of mine, is that we're talking about small business in the United States, manufacturing for this, in the United States, finding a way to do it at minimum guaranteed indistinguishable quality levels is what was once being produced, keeping more profits in house to grow that same small business and extend some of those discounts to the consumer. Like it's literally win, win, win all day, every day. Right? popgoesthemonkey.com. You can get them now. It's live as of yesterday, right?
Right. Meow.
meow.
Right, yeah.
Big fan of
Yeah.
anything like that plays out in the miniature space, you know?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's always great to see all these amazing companies. Another amazing company, Reptilian Overlords. Love the name. Just put out an STL file.
This is a bit, right? This isn't real.
Yeah, this is real. And it's funny because when I typed that in,
Rob's like shell company.
God, I wish I was that original. Just put out a STL file for Sergeant Apollo, which, you know, might be a Catachan colonel. I don't know.
Might be a reference to a famous boxer who was also
in a movie in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's an amazing model.
It has a firm grip.
It's really cool. Yeah.
It's
really cool model.
It's a great STL file. I think it's $4.99 to download, or if you do his subscription service, monthly subscription service, I think you get like 4 credits, and that model only costs 1 credit. So if you sign up this month, I think it's $9.99 or $12.99, I forget. You could get 4 credits, and I think this dope ass tank that you can print out is 3 credits, so you could get his new tank and Sergeant Apollo for like $10 or $12, whatever. It's really close. It doesn't matter. I forget. What's $2 between an artist and a customer, right?
That's free in GW money.
It's pretty much free in GW money. I don't even know what we're still talking about. So check that out over at reptilianoverlords.com. I don't know if you saw that Exodite trailer. That was pretty neat to watch. It was only like 37 seconds long, but always seeing those cool video trailers for 40K.
Oh yeah, I think there was like a new one that came out just this past week. He did a Black Templars one a while back with Primaris Marines.
Sodas?
That sounds right.
I'll have to look. That might be what it is.
A friend of mine sent me a link to it. I will look it up right now.
Cool. Yeah, let us know. Speaking of online, a virtual Wargames Con starts on Friday. So there will be a whole series of events. There's going to be a Facebook group that you can go into, different event rooms for different times to check out. I think we will all be, Long War will be on there streaming at different times all through the weekend, and Impending Duff too. Allie's going to be in there. What is it? Hobbies for Happiness?
Hobbies for Happiness.
Hobbies for Happiness. Yep, she'll be in there. There's a post going on Spiky Bits with the full lineup tomorrow. And then, of course, you can just go over to Wargames Con Facebook page. Then there'll be a group all unlocked this weekend on Friday, and you'll be able to see it all. Right now, you can't really see it because it's all like kind of locked down. So it'll be a really good time, because we can't go to conventions. This is kind of the next best thing. There's a virtual vendor hall. There's bat reps. There's all sorts of stuff happening. Stiff Neck Studio is going to be doing a bunch of tutorials. Dang, there's so much in there. I forget all the specifics, but it looked pretty dope.
I'll be painting Senior Scorpec.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll come up with something literally at like 4 minutes before I go live.
I mean,
you're going to paint the Booty Warrior?
Either that or some of these new Marines with the melted guns.
Eradicators.
So I'll keep it, new hype branding,
Well, I think the idea is to kind of celebrate Indominus coming out, too, which will be pretty neat and easy.
Do some sick salamanders.
Oh, that's good. Oh, yeah, that'd be sick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be cool. The Demon Slayer Night is available over on the Spiky Bits store till the end of the week. We're doing one print run for that. And then, whatever we got left for the rest of the year is out for the rest of the year. So it would be good if you're interested in it. It's fresh, 72-piece kit, 11 centimeters tall. Official licensee of Antonius. It's just a really cool kit. I sent some to Kenny. I think I sent some to all you guys, didn't I? I don't even know.
You sent me the precursor, which was the armor swap for the Dread Knight. You did not send me the new heat.
I've got 2 of the new guys. I have to sit down and get it all built because you accidentally sent me the wrong plates.
So you were a beta test.
I'm a beta.
You're a beta. No, I got it. I got it straight. We did a little beta test for some of our patrons to redeem for it. And I started getting a bunch of messages that were all eerily the same. Like, hey, there's something wrong with these little leg plates. And I was like, ah, crap. I forgot to mirror something. And I like went back and fixed it. But yeah, now they're all straight. They're fine. They're fine. This is fine. It's all fine.
It is my plan to get them built and squared away for a promo at the end of the month.
Nice. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. So they are going to go out of stock at the end of the week. If you want to pre-order one now, they'll be for delivery end of August/September. Whatever we have left over that isn't for orders will go back up on the site around that time. So it's good to get them in because we're going to get them out the door and the orders came in basically. So last but not least, I know the whole Indominus pre-order scalpers selling the box sets for $500 was a big thing a few weeks ago. It turns out Amazon is Amazon's not really going after them. But what Amazon is doing is they are making sellers more transparent coming very soon. So they said it was in an effort to kind of like go after counterfeiters and things, which are, unfortunately becoming more of a thing on that platform. But they are going to require more transparency from sellers. So you will be able to know more about who you're purchasing from, which in the case of our hobby is probably a good thing because, a lot of these folks that were buying up 100 Indominus boxes, looking to flip them for, $500, $1,000. And, that won't be as easy in the future, at least on the Amazon platform. It's unclear if, eBay will kind of follow suit, but at least, when it comes to this side of things, we won't see as much on the scalping side as we have in the past, with like limited edition minis and things like that. So that probably will be a good thing for the hobby overall and, just commerce in general. But I thought it was pretty interesting to see. That's it. That's all I got for Tabletop Market Watch.
That's more.
And of course, previews on Saturday.
Previews on Saturday.
New G-Dub previews.
I'm sure they'll drop some huge thing tomorrow morning.
Classic Thunderhawk.
For Primaris.
For Primaris, that's right.
Primaris Thunderhawk.
Primaris Thunderhawk. Oh my God.
It'll be the size of that G.I. Joe aircraft carrier no one ever got. But everyone wanted.
Man.
I think the biggest G.I. Joe thing I ever got was they had like a C-130.
Did they do a C-130? I don't remember that one.
Yeah. I remember I had one of those.
Rolling Thunder was pretty cool.
Guys need toys. Parents bought me like dollar store toys. I got like 6 Baxter Stockmans for Christmas one year. And they're like, see, you get Ninja Turtle toys sometimes.
That's not even a real one. That's
the first one was not a real one. It was the only one left on shelves. That's why everyone got me the same one. Get the fuck.
Oh, man.
Anyway. Triggered about my Ninja Turtle toys.
Or April O'Neil. You got April O'Neil.
Oh, I had April O'Neil for sure.
I remember that. Was it when they were doing like the super jacked action figures in like the early 90s? Was it that run?
Post movie? Post the first movie?
I think so, yeah. Because I remember I had a bunch of them and they were just like, all of them were like, almost like the old He-Man toys where they're all like, huh! And they were just roided out to the fucking gills. And then they had April O'Neil and she was like, jacked, like super huge.
I did eventually get a Splinter and a Shredder, but that was like just Gen 1. There were the only 2 that had cloth cape and cloth robes.
Okay.
And I remember like, God damn it, someone give me a goddamn Ninja Turtle finally, because I didn't have any Ninja Turtles forever. And then, later those became like hard as fuck to get.
Yep. I was just gonna say that. Those are the collectibles.
Yeah, which was crazy.
Yeah, everybody in chat is dropping about the flag, the USS flag, the G.I. Joe aircraft carrier. I'm gonna drop this on you. The Terror Drone. That was the hot.
Okay, so these are the ones that I had.
Terror Drone was honest.
I'll send you guys a picture. the Facebook links. So yeah, this was like the gen of Ninja Turtles toys that I had, where they were all like crazy jacked.
I think I know which ones you're talking about. Didn't they like they kind of like their heads?
Oh, this is literally Gen 1, dude. This is the first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Gen
Let's
1.
see. Oh yeah, that's the first.
Yeah,
one.
they had like a billion of these. Like there was every iteration of theme and gimmick that you could think of with these toys.
Mm-hmm.
They sold so many of them.
Oh yeah. So as promised, one way or another, Haspil's Corner. Haspil, earlier I heard you bring up that you were kind of excited about Cthulhu, except you discovered that J.J. Abrams was behind it.
It was Lovecraft Country. Yeah. So he's an exec producer, but it's a TV show, so he could be a showrunner. I don't know. I talked about it already. So, but it literally sucked all of my enthusiasm. I was like, "Oh, they're making this into a TV show with Jordan Peele and J.J. Abrams."
So it's an existing property. I know nothing.
Yeah, it's a book. It's a book about black people in the Jim Crow era, and a guy's dad goes missing up in Lovecraft Country. And
so in this world, this is like a real place.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's like Innsmouth and Dunwich and all the made up towns, Miskatonic, University, all the places like that.
So it's just like for readers, it's super on the nose.
I guess. I don't know. I haven't read the book. I have.
Oh, okay. I thought you like read it and were telling me.
No. I haven't. I bought the book. I had heard about it, and I bought the book upon seeing the trailer for the show, and went, "Oh, this is really cool." And then it was like, "Oh, it would have been really cool." You're gonna make me talk about it again. I didn't want to talk.
You don't have to. Don't do it. Don't cave. You're stronger than this, Haspil.
At this point in the podcast, I will splice in something from earlier in the show that is really awesome, and it's a profound analogy I found vastly interesting that Haspil made. Put it into our Haspil's Corner so he doesn't have to repeat himself when he already made the point.
We'll just wait 5 seconds. So you just pull the section out.
I'm going to either do that or I'm going to trigger him with some Star Wars shit.
You can't trigger me anymore. I've moved on.
He is ascended.
All right.
I told somebody else about that. People were just like, "Oh, you got to do this," and I was like, "Dude, okay, what if you like walked in on your ex with somebody else, right? And you walked in on there, and you're like, okay, you're pissed, but you're like, okay, whatever, it's over."
Ex.
They're your ex, right?
Okay,
and then your ex turns around and blames you for being with somebody else.
Yes,
right? It's your fault. It's your fault that they were with somebody else. So again, you're like, "Man, I'm pissed," or whatever. But you let it go.
I actually have a very I have an interesting rebuttal to that, but I think it's
why would and now your ex is like, "Hey, let's get back together." You know what I mean? I got this. I baked this pie that you really like. Yeah, that's okay. I don't want to eat. I don't want to eat it. I don't want anything to do with you. Like, leave me alone. It's over. Right? You blamed me. I'm done. Let it go.
So,
don't you have new fans? Go to your new fans and don't buy
Go to your new fans.
Here's a little bit of a hot take. So much like the people who are super offended by the Warhammer message that went out, why would you associate yourself with a toxic fan base if you're not a toxic fan?
No, you're very right.
If it's directed only at toxic fans, why would you be upset by that?
You're right.
So if the Games Workshop message is directed only at racist pieces of shit, why would you feel personally attacked unless you are a racist piece of shit?
Well, part of the reason I don't want to like just drive that home is because other people enjoy things differently than I do. I'm not the end and beginning of everything that's like cool or that you enjoy. You know what I mean?
Oh, I thought you were like the alpha and the omega.
No.
I mean, you have a Marklar or whatever that thing was called.
Oregon. Yes. A Marklar.
Yeah. One of those things.
Awesome. That is so awesome.
He's like the Little Mermaid of nerds. He's like,
but yeah, I mean,
I got 20 of those.
For the longest time, I felt, and this has taken me a long, long time to come to terms with, but for a long, long time, I felt I had to be the evangelist of when I saw something that was awful and other people liked it. I felt I had to be the evangelist of trying to tell people why it was terrible, and why they shouldn't like it. But I have matured, and I'm like, who am I to tell you what you like and don't like? Right? I like a lot of crap movies too. I mean, if the Scorpion King's on TV, I'm going to watch it beginning to end, and it's terrible.
I don't know what you're talking about. That is a cinematic masterpiece that deserves a place in the Smithsonian.
And Crocodile Dundee, if it's on TV, I'm going to watch it.
I mean,
so
that's another. That's a good, I'm like, that is a good movie, Mike. Come on.
But yeah, so I don't want to like harsh another person's buzz, basically. And so if you like really dig something that's like really awesome, I don't feel that it's my job anymore to point out maybe why it's not as good as something else. Because if you like it, who cares?
You once did that for me, though. And it changed my life in a positive way when you explained to me why the JJ Star Trek reboot was garbage. And I had just seen it and was trying to tell you how hype it was. And then you were like, I know you love Star Trek, but I need to tell you some things. And you did. And it forever changed me for the better.
Oh, okay. I bought into the that one really hurt because it was just like I've lived my life with Star Trek, and it was just like watching someone not just like straight disrespect it. If it was a parody, it would have been better, but I don't know.
It was a parody, a bad one. I fell for the magic tricks, the shitty magic tricks in that movie. Or they got me hyped with that first like 8 minutes of the movie with Chris Hemsworth.
Mm-hmm.
It got me hyped as fuck during that space battle.
Mm-hmm.
Then it goes into it.
You're trying to rope me into this shit. Because it just like
they're trying to figure out his name.
I'm just like he's literally like there is no autopilot. I have to stay here and pilot the ship to go crash on a crash course, but I'm literally just going to put in a course at a speed and then lean back in the seat
and then have a call with his wife.
He's not actively piloting it. I mean, you mean I could have just entered a course and speed and then like left with everyone else? I don't know.
I mean, he could have just like hit the warp drive and gone right into him, you know?
Oh yeah, I saw that in another movie.
Oh, it hurts.
It would have really fucked that ship up. Like, how do you stop that?
It might even crack in half.
Yeah. We're just going to put a lot of Dutch angles and some lens flares and some pounding music and some
Beastie Boys is classical music.
and
I mean, like I enjoy Beastie Boys, but I'm like I don't enjoy it that much. Like
I love Beastie Boys, I love them, but
obviously JJ really likes them. So therefore, now Captain Kirk really loves them. It's canon.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
Makes sense.
I'll read the book and then I might give Lovecraft Country a shot and see how they do it.
Understood. You are the Prince of all Saiyans. You want to jump into just meat and potato section on the GT packet? Some of our thoughts based on our previous few weeks of negative feelings about the current missions.
First of all, I want to go on the record. I have never had any negative feelings about the new edition.
When I say "are," I mean me and Wyatt because you don't even know how to play 40K. So
that's not true. You just take the base units, mostly Titanic, and you put them on the table, and then you go. Brrr,
not going to tell you how to enjoy the game. You're right.
And then you count up your points.
What would Haspil do here? He would say, "Yep, that's sounds fun, man."
I'm not gonna belittle your fun with plastic war dollies.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, I just gave you the keys to the castle, guys.
You did. Honestly, you did. Thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. And for free. That was just free, unsolicited advice. I really do appreciate that. So the GT packet's out. It is actually kind of small, which is good. Spiral bound, which is fucking inspired. We talked about it earlier in the show already.
Do you like that? It's Jinko Jean size. If you're watching,
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that spiral binding that book is like the best decision about that book.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's even got this little elastic like flapper, so you can like lock it all together.
Love it. Streamline the process. So, how different, Wyatt, are the GT missions than the core rulebook missions?
Yes. They're very, very similar. They're almost the exact same. There is a 95% crossover between this book and the match play format. The only real difference is being some slight word variations on some secondaries that basically do the same thing. And the missions themselves, like the mission maps, the map pack, as you will, is different. Those are new missions, but all of the mechanics and everything has been shown already in the match play core section.
So we're scoring the same way. You got a whole something, you got a whole 2, you got a whole 3. You're picking from your secondaries, and there are different mission designs. Like, what about this toggling on and off objectives? What is this?
Yeah, so like that's been shown. Like, there's a couple of missions like that in the match play section. There's just I want to say that it's like every other one is kind of like that.
Now, is that just a secondary inherit to the mission?
Nope. That is how the primary scoring works in those mission types. So it's the same. It's like hold 1, hold 2 or more, hold more. So for 5, 10, 15.
Hold 3.
Right? That is the same in every mission. That's the primary scoring. But how to do that can differ between you have to sit your ass on this thing and hold it, or what we're referring to as toggling, quote unquote, the objectives, where you move a unit onto it, you then hold that objective.
Raise the flag.
Yeah, kind of raise a flag up or like hit a button or whatever, right? You capture that resource point, and then that unit can then leave that objective, and it continues to be held by you until your opponent moves a unit onto it and then claims it for themselves. And so you can have this sort of like back and forth of like claiming and taking, and then reclaiming if it was taken from you.
I like that. That's cool. So it seems to me though, like one of the bigger changes is like more objectives, right? You said there's only one mission that has 4 objectives now, right?
Yeah. Pretty sure that's correct. I have to open them up, but it seems like one mission has 4 objectives, and then all the rest of them have either 5 or 6.
And that is, well, see on the surface, a subtle numeric change. It does actually help with the snowballing in a way, in a real way, like it does. Because now, fight over one objective on my side, one on your side, and 2 in no man's land is totally different when there's a third one on already a smaller table that can provide you a backup plan to not being able to take an objective back from somebody.
Right. And one of the things we were kind of playtesting a lot in my games here is my buddy, shout out to Will and Stiff Neck Studios. He's like Custodes guy, pretty hype on his army.
Oh, he plays Custodes too?
Yeah, especially going into 9th, he's really hype on him. So like a lot of our back and forth practice games where we've been like testing out a lot of these mechanics has been with his Custodes. And the toggling objective holding is actually, it works a little bit better for him than normal because as you know, the issue with Custodes is number of units on the table. So highly elite, right? So him being able to be like, all right, I'm going to move to these, and then, boom, I have those, and then I'm going to move off of them and bring the fight to my opponent rather than having to sit here just to have these objectives. It helps those types of armies out a little bit rather than like, if you don't physically have a unit.
Yeah, an elite army has to devote an elite unit to that resource.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, there is back and forth with that. Like if he is playing against a unit, an army sort of like mine that just simply has like almost double the number of units on the table. If I can tar pit him into a section of the board, that allows me to kind of zoom over and then be like, nah, these are mine now. And now I hold almost all the objectives because like you're having to deal with my powerhouse stuff with your powerhouse stuff. And then like my rhinos can just kind of like, zoom all over the board and do stuff. So you'll have to kind of watch out for that type of matchup if you're playing a more elite force. But, having those types of missions in there does help out those armies a little bit. So like I'd say that type of primary mechanic is probably the most interesting thing to me in this new format, because everything else is just kind of the same between the match play in this book.
And so like obviously 9th edition is all about these primaries. And I was actually thinking about Mike earlier this week about his Necrons and how 4th edition is, why I brought up last week, this is starting to feel. And it totally reminds me of that era when like, you need to be able to take objectives kind of at the end of the game, but you needed to do it in such a way that your opponent couldn't just react if like he had the last turn and wipe you out, right? Transports were a big part of our life back in those days. And so that way you could have something in the transport could be sitting on the objective. They're going to interact with the transport and then your guys spill out and then they interact with your guys, right? It's really, that's why we keep bringing up rhinos. Rhinos are suddenly very valuable because even an empty rhino that's already dropped its payload off is doing this task, right? And vice versa, a transport that's been exploded, the guys from inside are doing this task. And Necrons and their Ghost Arc, I feel like really powerful transport, Mike. Really hard to put down, tough, lots of wounds, other great abilities. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to kind of crack open my Necron Codex and look at Ghost Arcs and just remember exactly how cool they are.
Blob of 20 Necrons with a Ghost Arc for support is very hard to get rid of.
Ghost Arcs have quantum shielding, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's going to be pretty tight.
And if you have somebody with the res orb in there, and then the Ghost Arcs resin people too, it's.
Do Ghost Arcs also have quantum shielding? Are you fucking serious?
Mm-hmm.
Oh god. Yeah, that's a doubling down. It's like boom, boom. Like deal with this, son. Like and so much of what we have talked about for like the last couple of years is like setting up your secondaries, designing your list to win points without having to necessarily interact with your opponent. Like you can do things in spite of this game is not going to be like that. So to start thinking about how to resist these firefights that are going to start occurring in the midfield, tough transports, lots of transports, mobility, like these are all going to matter.
Yeah, secondaries aside, like you need to be able to take and hold more objectives than your opponent. And if the easiest way to do that is going to be infantry and transports that can kind of move pretty quickly, then like I see a lot of factions like being able to do that relatively well. And so like that might be kind of the initial knee-jerk meta that we see. Because I mean, like if you can't hold more objectives than your opponent, then basically the only way to win is to like table them before they can score more points than you, which is not out of the question to be able to be done, but it's not going to work in every instance. It's just not. So like I definitely expect to see a lot of, if you have rhinos, I expect to see a lot of rhino rush. Tauroxes are, in my opinion, I think Tauroxes are better than chimeras, but there's a debate on that. But I expect to see like Taurox or chimera rush with lots of things like Leman Russes in support and basilisks and stuff like that. The Mechanicum, who a lot of people have been speculating are coming out strong into 9th edition. They have their little hovercrafts and the ornithopter things that they're going to be able to zoom all over the board with. So I expect a lot of list archetypes to have at least like 3 infantry units with 3 transports doing a lot of objective grabby type stuff.
100% agreed. It's like the old days. Like I had a certain amount of rhinos and guys in them that were in my list always. And an old formula was min-maxing. Remember, we did that in 4th edition endlessly. And I really do think that kind of like, interestingly, min-max Marine units might have a place again, even though like it did all but died because of Primaris.
Yeah, I mean, like Impulsor Rush is a really strong tactic. I mean, it was strong in 8th edition, even though like you look on paper, you're like, where's all like the heavy strength guns? Like, where's all like the big bruiser type heroes? And it's just like they're just not really in there, but it was constantly doing well. And I think in this edition, like it's going to do even better.
It is, and so like, so solid. But now what I'm saying is there might be like this game is not nearly as like skewed. I think right now, like you can play it skewed. Obviously, you always can. People always do that. But I think now, like you have some impulsors, points are commodity. You have some guys in them. But like if you have points for like 5 Marines with a special weapon and a melee weapon and a fucking Rhino, that's the same thing but cheaper, right? Like it literally, for the purpose of it, moved to here, stood on this objective. They had to blow the Rhino up, then get the guys out, or it dropped the guys off, then the Rhino moved. Multiple affordable units that do similar tasks. Powerful when you're talking about winning these primaries. So like a lot of new units. Like now I'm looking at like Red Corsair lists where like I'm taking those 15 Marines to unlock the CP, but I'm throwing Rhinos at them.
Yeah. I think that's going to be like a really, really good way to do things. I mean, you'll have to refresh my memory, but don't Dark Eldar have a similar way of doing things where if you have like a CP bonus thing for Force Org?
Oh yeah, for their patrol detachments.
Yeah. Oh, is the Red Corsairs thing a specialist attachment, or is that just their?
It's in one of those books, but it's not a specialist attachment. Okay. It's a whatever legion. It's one of the.
Yeah,
I had to look at that to be sure.
Yeah. So for anybody living under a rock who hasn't seen it, in this GT book, you cannot use specialist attachments.
Makes me so mad.
You cannot use them, and
because like that's the only thing Guard have, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are kind of salty about it, and I can definitely see why. Like,
I'm 100% okay with it because those are 8th edition formations, and they're trying to move off of that.
I hope they put, like we saw with Centurion one. Well, a lot of I hope they put those in because we saw them go into the Marine book. I hope they put like those into the Guard,
the new decks.
Yeah.
I mean, one could hope. I mean, like that's definitely a possibility. I mean, like personally speaking, when Wind of a New Edition kind of started coming out, I was like immediately stopped thinking about specialist attachments. So I was like, they have done this so many times where they do a campaign type book release and then a, big game changer type rules shift. And then the stuff in those books is no longer valid. And they've also lied on many accounts where they tell us one thing and then do another. And I think this is like the 3rd or 4th time they've said like, yeah, like you can use this, but then it stops. Like you can't, like you end up can't doing it. So like anytime I hear Games Workshop like answer a question like, hey, can I use this book moving forward? And they say yes, I'm just going to assume that's actually going to be a no because they've bold-faced lied to people's faces about that so many times at this point that it's not even worth thinking about.
Truth. It's in the chat. I think Kara Quinn mentions he says in the local meta, especially these times, there's going to be some skewed ass lists for sure. But I'll put this out there. So if you got some skewed power list that's looking to table somebody and you're 7 out of 10 good at 40K and somebody has like more of a balanced approach at winning primaries and he's also 7 out of 10 at playing 40K, that guy's going to win. Right. That's
primary is real important.
That's how I'm looking at it. Right. Like and what's interesting is like another emotion. And I know I've been at the table and at multiple Adepticons playing the doubles or the 4-man team with Haspil. You know that phase in the old style playing, Mike, where we're ending the game. We think we're going to lose. And then we spend like 9 minutes staring at the table and then it clicks. And then we're like, wait. We move to here, contest this one, but we move here, and then all we got to do is make this charge here. We actually win the game because now we contested both these objectives and we hold one. Mm-hmm. Like that was a big part of fucking like unlocking the puzzle, like solving the puzzle that was in front of you. that doesn't really happen that much in 8th edition, but like it's gonna be like that, I feel like, but like every turn. You know, like if you go second every turn, like how do I unlock this puzzle? I miss that. I enjoy that. It's like a fucking rush.
I'm definitely for it.
It's going to be a different style of play. Like one thing that we talked about earlier was I think gone are the days of building an army around achievable secondaries. And so like hyperbolically, a lot of these secondaries are poo-poo. Like they're just not very good. In the reality, they're just really hard to do. So I would venture to say that outscoring somebody purely on secondaries is not going to happen unless it's just like a gimme game. And you're like, oh, if I can take assassin and I can take like this other thing. And then like this third thing that are super easy for me to do against that opponent, right? That's going to be a very rare instance. So I don't think we're going to see a ton of like maxing secondaries in this new format. And it's like the primary way to win is going to be primary point scoring, which means like the new rule of thumb for building a list is, can I get to a point where I can hold more objectives than my opponent and hold those more objectives with enough turns to where I outscore them before the end of the game?
I think LT just like delivered your sentiment, like it really, because secondaries are tiebreakers for the main mission.
Yeah, that's a really good way to say it. So it's like a lot of them are very hard to do and they're very situational, so you won't be able to use them a lot. I think the only real exception to that is going to be engage on all fronts. It's basically recon, and you can build almost.
You should be building for it.
Yeah, like because of the way that
also is
that works.
The primary. Like if they field it, like it's literally the same thing. And so to the chat, like I see someone in the chat in shadows talking about, you know, he's a Grey Knight player. He's talking about Grey Knights, and then I just caught this line here. My problem is how to play the primary mission with so few units when you need one bomb to shield your characters. The GW, you have to always go like be like water. Be, you know, Bruce Lee methodology here. When they change the additions, they also tell you that they're changing the way they're basically authorizing you to play effectively. And so in 8th edition, character abuse was real fucking strong. That way of abusing characters came out of the previous edition, which was even more abusive, right? With Lookout Sirs, independent characters, sharing USRs, that was so fucking abusive. They had a new system of doing it, right? And then they even then had to manipulate the way that worked because it was overly abusive. So, but still, 8th edition characters were living a pretty safe, strong life of either being, you know, gut punchers or fucking aura buffers. They don't want that. They want characters to be very specific. They want them to have you want to have a purpose for them. They don't want you to spam them, and you need to basically plan for that and roll with that punch. You know, be like water here. Game is going to be different. Don't be like Kenny, who made the first 2 years or the first year and a half of 4th edition a goddamn nightmare because he refused to acknowledge that change was you know, indelible. Like,
yeah, we're just gonna have to adjust. I'm like, there's been a lot of negative feedback. I mean, I'm guilty of that. I'm very negative on this format. There's still aspects of it that I am, but you know, part of accepting a new paradigm is that, like, you know, if you feel strongly about it, you need to vent those emotions, or you're just gonna like shove them down inside of the pit of your stomach as a rage ball that's gonna explode at family gatherings and weddings. You know, you can't be doing that. So you gotta vent it, and you're like, okay, I vented it, and now I'm going to adapt and move on. So that's what we're doing. And there's still aspects that I'm not great with, and I do think that will be band-aided after some tournament info comes in. Like, one thing that Frontline has been talking about is like, hey, chill the fuck out. Like, Salty John put out an article about exactly what we're talking about. Like, there is no tournament data on this, and Frontline does not use anecdotal evidence of dudes like me playing at their home Beats lab, or guys in their basement only playing their buddies and getting like a handful of games in, they have to have tournament data. They have to have those hundreds to thousands of games where they can have like real statistics to figure out if anything is actually busted or needs to be fixed. So I think the outcome for the rest of this year is definitely like in flux because of everything going on. So the next frontline event that is scheduled to happen is this fall with SoCal Open in October, which it's possible that could happen. You know, I'm not gonna count it out. And that'll probably be the first tournament where we play this packet, and they're just going to be like, here, play the book, you know, let's see what happens. Right. And then they'll have a handful of months between that and LVO to figure out if they want to change anything. Or turns out that SoCal Open gets canceled and we don't have that. And then that means that the next frontline event is like literally LVO. And we'll have like LVO 2020 this next January, where we are straight up legit playing this book, you know, basic bitch book as is. And we're just going to have to like eat that shit sandwich.
For like half a year.
Numbers in. Yeah. Like that could happen, you know, like there are other events. Like I know that not everywhere is the same as where we're currently located. So there's going to be some data that comes out and they might take that. There's still events like Slaughterfest that got moved to November. And that's fairly possible that that's actually going to go down and happen. And that'll be an event where we'll get, over 100 people playing, 5 games. So about 500 to 600 games going on in one weekend, where we'll get a lot of data from that'll be submitted to Frontline. So we're just going to have to wait and see. But, you know, if Frontline says, if you want ITC points, we're playing this format, it would behoove you to not only learn this format, but learn how to play it to the best of your ability so that, you know what's happening, you know what's going on, you can win some games.
It's a good solid breakdown of where we're at as a community with these new missions. Stay positive. Stay committed. Yep. Keep playing the game you love.
Haspil, take us out of here.
At sunrise, the Black Fortress will appear in the Iron Desert.